guys that's going up the floor.
Mike, so we know Keegan's starting tonight.
Yep.
How much do you want him to just settle into a role quickly, kind of figure himself out? Because it seems like every time he does step on the court, very comfortable, confident, seems to know what he's doing.
Now, for a young guy, he's really comfortable and confident. And if he's not, he doesn't show it. But not just him, all of us. We're still trying to find our way. Obviously, I'm experimenting not just with the starting lineup, but the rotation behind it. Experimenting with what we're doing on the floor. So, hopefully sooner than later we'll all get comfortable. But speaking about Keegan specifically, basically the same. I think he's okay. When I talk to him, he sounds like he's okay. When I watch him in practice, he looks really good. So hopefully it'll keep translating to whether he starts or doesn't start or plays late or doesn't play late or whenever he's on the floor.
Yep. Coach Brown, along with getting his first win, Kings really have struggling with home wins in the past few seasons. I just want to get your thoughts on trying to establish, a culture of winning here at home.
Yeah, no, you always want to try to protect your home court. I'm a firm believer in that. At the end of the day, though, for us where we are right now, winning the right way so that we can continue to build our foundation correctly is extremely important. And obviously with the fans that we have and the energy that they bring to the arena, we feel that should give us a little bit more of an advantage. And so we don't want to waste home opportunities if we can help it, So establishing it is definitely a priority. But at the end of the day, we still got to keep growing and learning whether we're at home or on the road.
Mike, you just mentioned adjusting the rotation behind the starting lineup. When you are making starting changes and taking pieces that were part of a second unit or part of the rotation, how much does the impact on that second unit have on that decision?
It has a lot. You want to make sure that you feel like the balance is there with that second unit. The reality of it is with Keegan starting, it's taken minutes away from when he was with the second unit. And, in an instance like that, you always look at that type of player as, okay, well, maybe he really spread his wings when he's with that group because he doesn't have the pressures of being with, Foxy and Domas and HB. And then not only that, he'd get more touches. And that was part of the thinking of bringing him off the bench is to be able to run him a longer stretch with the second group. Having said all that, we have plenty of guys that can step in and step up, and we're going to experiment with a couple of other guys today to see what it looks like. And today, may not be the only day. We may experiment a little bit more the next game, or we may even experiment from the first half today to the second half today. So nothing is set right now. I'm still searching, and I know our guys are searching a little bit too.
So, in a sense of experimenting,
Yep.
excuse me, and I know that, you're still trying to figure a lot of things out, there's gonna be changes, rotations, lineups. What's your approach as a coach in terms of discussing this with the players as their roles shift and change, or is it something that you just expect them to understand, or you verbalize it to them one-on-one? How do you approach it?
That's a great question. So we have individual, each player has a player development coach. And each player, we put together a player development plan that we all set in on, myself plus their coach, plus somebody from the front office, somebody from the medical performance side, and one or two other coaches. We did it via Zoom this summer, explaining what we expected from everybody, what their role was going to be. And then we're starting the second round of it already. So we've gotten through maybe 6 guys. So almost half the team. Hopefully we'll get through the rest of the guys in the next 4 to 5, next week. And then once that happens, as this being the second time we've sat down and talked to them specifically about their role in their development process, then I'm a firm believer, because part of being all in, part of establishing a winning culture is everybody's got to be on the same page. And so the next step after I meet with everybody we'll sit down as a group and I'll just briefly hit each guy in front of everybody else, so nobody, so everybody knows what's expected of their teammates within the whole scope of how we're going to move forward as a group.
Coach, I was just wondering, how helpful was it for you to have a few days of practice in between games? Usually that's pretty unusual in an NBA schedule, but to have it early.
Yeah, no, it was fantastic. The guys, I gotta give them credit. They are working hard. There are some areas that we had to clean up, and tonight's gonna be big. Ja, with his speed and with the way that their team gets out and goes, especially after they cause turnovers, our transition defense is gonna be important. And the last 2 days, we did a transition defensive drill live both days. And we addressed it, we talked about it, we watched film on it, and so that was part of what we did these last couple of days. And to have that, especially with the young team that's growing and heading in the right direction, was much needed. I'm glad we had it there.
Jason, go ahead.
Mike, I'm curious how you feel about the spacing you've seen so far. We've seen Domas get crowded quite a bit inside. I don't know if it's related or not, but HB's had a little trouble trying to get going. And so I wonder how you feel about that and whether having Keegan out there can maybe help to improve spacing and spread the floor some.
No, it should, but so Domas, a lot of his, I guess a lot of time that he was quote unquote crowded or had a lot of bodies around him was when he caught the ball down low. There were a couple of times where we made cuts and we sat on top of his lap. We just need to stay spaced. As big and strong and as gifted as Domas is, if we stay spaced and teams want to go small against us, if Domas is one-on-one, he's going to score it. If he's not one-on-one and they collapse, which they did in Portland, they did in versus the Clippers, then he's got to kick it. But we have to make sure that we stay spaced and we're not cutting on top of them when that happens. So we're learning and growing in that area. That for sure is not a concern of mine because we've done it great most times and gotten good looks when we call those dagger threes or spray threes. So I feel good about that. And HB, it's mainly about him just getting a rhythm. I think last year, especially early in the year, the focal point of their offense was probably, if I had to guess, was probably Foxy and HB, And now if you think about it, what we're doing is a lot of ball movement, a lot of body movement, a lot of touches, ball reversals, paint touches. But we're playing through Domas, we're playing through Foxy, and now you also have Keegan, who's shown the ability to step up and score and or hit some big shots. Herder's gotten, Herder's averaging, I don't know, maybe 10 to 12 shots a game, and so there's only so many shots that HB is going to get per game, and some games he's going to get a lot, some games he may not get any at all, and once he gets in rhythm and feels the different spots that he can be effective in within our offense, he'll be fine.
Two more guys. Cowboys.
Coach, your first two home opponents, Portland and the Clippers, they seem to be in constant attack mode on both ends, making you feel them. How critical is that in a game, would you say? And I guess you would face another team like Memphis who does the same thing. And how do you measure that out of your guys? How do you get your guys to play that way?
Well, for me, the biggest thing, and part of the disappointment was how bad we were with our transition defense. We have not been good with our transition defense, and we're better at it during the preseason. We spent a lot of time working on it, like I said, the last couple of days, and to have guys attack us the way that they did in transition, especially when those guys aren't named Giannis or Ja. As a coach, it frustrates you because you know that we're better than that, and I think our players know that we're better than that. But in the half court, we want to be the ones to make our opponents feel us defensively, and we just have to do it without fouling. And I thought we had too many unnecessary fouls in in a couple of the first games. I thought we were a little better against the Clippers, against Golden State, and against Portland. We sent them to the free throw line way too many times. And if we can show our hands and lead with our chest, which we're more than capable of doing, and not giving, teams 30, 31, we're last in opponents' free throw attempts. If you couple the way we're playing in transition with the way that we're fouling, that's a pretty big deal. And so now, but I also think both those things are in our control. They're controllable by us. And so once we get to the point where we understand that and we actually do it, we're gonna have chances to win a lot of games.
All right, G-Man, and then we'll close with Katie.
Coach, Grizzlies the last 2-3 years led the league, points in the paint, fast break points, second chance points. How big a concern is that tonight?
No, it's a big concern. It's what we're talking about on the scout report. Again, the first one is a transition game because now we feel like our half-court defense, when we don't foul, is pretty good. Now, are we where we're going to finish? No, I think we can even get better. But from where we are right now, at this point in the year, I'm pleased with the progress that we made with our half-court defense. But when you have a team that plays a transition game like Memphis does, and you're not doing a great job right now in transition defense, that's a huge concern. So we have to do a better job of trying to load and find shooters in transition, not giving up any easy, or else it's going to be a tough night for us. Again, I think in the half court, our guys have a decent feel of what our rotations need to be to try to close off that middle a little bit. And so points in the paint can happen, but if we keep guys off the glass and we do what we do assignment-wise defensively, we'll be fine the points in the paint area. We just got to take care of the ball too, so they're not getting out and running off of live turnovers and getting easy baskets.
Last one.
I just want to follow up on the HB question. Do you feel that he is being as aggressive on you would like, or do you feel there's a little bit of passiveness in terms of kind of how he's approaching the offensive end? How do you judge kind of where he's at and how he feels from what you've seen?
It's still early. I'm still learning him. Like I said, I have not called in 3 games. I have not called a single play for him, and I'm sure last year and previous years, HB has gotten plenty of play calls for him. Not only that, I'm starting him, bringing him out, trying to bring him back to help the second unit, bring him out, and then trying to bring him back a third time. And sometimes I'm not even bringing him back a third time. So, as a veteran, he's trying to find his way a little bit. I am too, to see where he fits and to see how, not only where he fits in what we're doing right now, but to see how I can possibly help him down the road. So, again, I think he's going to be fine at the end of the day. We just have to have a little. I know I'm patient with it. We communicate a lot, and he's feels like he's in a pretty good spot. He just has to make sure that he continues to figure out different ways or avenues to be able to get looks and or have an opportunity to score when he's out on the floor.
Thank you, Coach.
Thanks, Coach.
Thank you guys. I'm gonna take these.